What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN, USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Here we are at 007 right now with 10 hours and 54 minutes left in this day. We're up 6.3% today, which is nice, considering that every other coin is basically down except for Dash today. So that's nice. That's a win there. We'll take our wins where we can get them, but we're also hitting an L. We're suffering from an L right now because we've seen lower prices than anything else that we've seen since April, which is pretty damn dramatic. It's pretty damn sad to see. This doesn't mean, and I'm seeing a lot of OnyxCoin bears out there celebrating, this does not mean that we have to return down to 0.004 or lower. It does not mean that at all, right? We found immaculate support in various areas, and if we're looking at this here from a low to a high, we are right at the 0.5 right now of this overall retracement zone. We could go down to the golden ratio, and the golden ratio does line up very well with this level here, and it is completely possible, and we should accept that 0.0448 or lower is a target, but it doesn't mean that we have to go down there, right? We could still be in the midst of some kind of fake out move, and in which case we could see a rapid recovery in a very short amount of time. This is not the point at which to get bearish, right? If you wanted to get bearish, there was your point, there was your point, there was your point, right? It's too late now. We're in a point where it's clearly better to accumulate than it is to distribute, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. If I bought the high and I'm feeling like selling here, I would ask myself, if I didn't buy the high, if I had all my cash that I put in up here and I had it and I saved it for down here, would I at least think of allocating some in right now? If the answer is yes, then I know that, okay, this is not clearly a good time to sell. I'm just emotional, right? I think that this is really a good time to buy, not a good time to sell. I want to look at this from an all-time historical perspective real quick. We're going to bust out a fib that we don't really normally look at. Let's take the all-time high to the all-time low. Yeah, right there. Golden ratio, we could go right to the 382. It's actually a perfect area to find support, and for some reason on this chart, the scam wick that we had also found support in this area. That doesn't mean that we have to find support there, right? We could go a little bit below there. There's a wick right there at about 0.0515. We're at 0.007 now, so it is completely possible to accept these targets. I'm not saying right now that we have to go down here. I'm just saying it's something that we should at least consider, being that we've taken out this low, right? At this point, we've done the unthinkable. I really did think that this double bottom would uphold, but hey, whatever. What else is new, man? Sometimes things keep dropping. I'd be more concerned about OnyxCoin right now if it wasn't for the fact that the rest of the market was also taking a bit of a bloodbath, right? Like if OnyxCoin here was dropping like this and the rest of the market was pumping, well, then that'd be very disappointing. Right now, while the market's being disappointing as a whole, this doesn't worry me as much. I mean, the crypto fear and greed index is at 27 right now. That's some of the lowest readings we've seen really throughout this whole market process. So I'm not too concerned with the price, but it is sad to see. It is definitely sad to see. I was hoping that we would get this double bottom and have a positive reaction, but nope, we did not. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. We'll zoom out from there, and we'll see what we can come up with, okay? Looking at the 1 hour time frame, and let's put it on Coinbase, okay? Putting it on Coinbase here. There's a lot of volume. It was a lot of volume, and Coinbase is the largest exchange for OnyxCoin. This large amount of volume did take us right up, right here, on the wicking standpoint, wicking basis. Come on. Right there, right up to our prior low right here from the 10th of October. That's not encouraging either. I don't like that, right? There was a massive buy wall here. Now there's a massive sell wall here, I'm assuming. Looking at the 1 hour time frame here, zooming in a little bit. RSI is breaking out of a downtrend. I mean, you look productive to some degree here. The stochastics look productive, and so does the MACD, but I'm not really wooed by anything right now, right? I'm not going to be wooed by OnyxCoin until we're back above 1 cent, right? Until we're back above there, then there's something to talk about. Until then, and that could happen. I mean, that could happen in an hour. It could happen in a week. Who knows how long it's going to be, but it will happen at some point. I'm kind of curious to see when it does happen, though. As in, like, how fast will we recover from this area? Typically, with our low points, OnyxCoin does have a very fast kind of reaction with these low points. So I am curious to see if we do pump up higher and how much higher we'll go. Again, I'm not really going to be amused until we're back above 1 cent. Really like even 1.4 cent. I'm not going to be amused. Looking at the 4 hour time frame here, very bearish RSI, very, very bearish. Take notes, you guys. If you want a bearish RSI, this is what it looks like, right? Consistently getting in the oversold zone, consistently rejecting the 60, living below the 50. Just such a sad looking 4-hour time frame here. Stochastics are at the same areas that they were last time that we rejected, but you look a little bit more productive here with your orange line. The RSI looks a little more productive here as well. The MACD is truly where the disappointment comes in for me, man, because lower lows like this with just such a wonderfully, it's beautiful. It is literally a beautifully fed bullish divergence all the way to the point of which we should have broken out. But then Bitcoin and the rest of the market went down. I'm wondering if things weren't going bad for the rest of the market. I'm wondering if we would have popped off here, because that was some true bullish divergence right there. On the 4-hour time frame too. It's a bit disappointing to see that give up and we push back lower. But on the bright side, we didn't go too much lower. We're still kind of hanging out in this area, but we'd like to see a very fast and loud reaction pretty soon. If not, we go lower, but same thing, demand a fast and loud reaction, because if we do that, that can really help validate the idea that this is some kind of fake out breakout to the downside. But if not, I mean, this could be something more severe in which we do go down to 0.05 or 0.04, something in that area, which I would just personally not want to see. But anyways, looking at this here, there are signs of wanting to go higher, but I'm not getting enough to really call for a low here right at this moment. Okay, daily time frame, we got into the oversold zone, the lowest levels of being oversold that we've seen dating back to 2023, guys. Lowest levels in the oversold zone that we've seen dating back to 2023. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy stuff. Over 2 years ago. The stochastics are bearish, and the MACD is forming, it is forming some type of bullish divergence, okay? I don't know how, but it's like throughout this whole process, you're giving higher lows systematically with the histogram. I don't think that is bullish divergence necessarily, but you can see it here with the oscillators, right? You've got some kind of consolidation phase within your MACD here. Something is about to give one way or another. And I'm thinking it's going to be to the upside, but you never know, especially with these conditions right now. If we're looking at this right here, the MACD does have bullish divergence on the daily time frame, which is pretty nice, to be completely fair. That divergence started back here at about 0.0089, which is great. Bullish divergence typically takes you past that point, so that divergence there could be enough to send us back above 1 cent, which again, that's kind of the goal at this point. We want to get back above 1 cent, want to get back above these lows here, and show that we are ready to break out of this overall downtrend that we've been in since April. But I'm not seeing really any signs other than this bullish divergence. I'm not seeing any signs that this is the point at which we find our low. So let's see if we can figure that out. You know, this, I think out of this whole drop here from April to where we are now, this is a good focal point from a low to a high, right? It's a good kind of in the middle of this overall move down, right? A good, what's the word I'm looking for? Pivot moment, or pivotal, discernible low, discernible high, I don't know. Low to high here. We're all the way down at the 2272. Hey, that's actually a good reaction right there off the 2272. Typically you do wick a little bit below it, and then you close back above it. Interesting. You know, with this fib, you did close right at the golden ratio. Found resistance right at the 886, found resistance right at the golden ratio. You know, with this fib, I would think, and I'm a little bit more confident now, that the lowest we'd go would be 0054. Maybe we should up the ante. The lowest we'd go is 0042. Okay, that's the lowest we'd go. Which from here, to put that in perspective, in a sad, sad perspective, is another 40% drop. Okay, I'm not saying that we are going to drop 40%. I'm just saying that's the lowest that I would expect that we go. 22% is very doable. It is completely possible. It's a very viable option that we find support here, but we'd have to do it more or less immediately. Once we're back above, really, 0.009, that's how we would validate that this is a low. I wouldn't get excited until we're above 1 cent personally, but 0.009 technically would help validate this as a low. So if we can get above there, this is a low. If not, half a cent or even below that is a possible target outcome that we need to address. Whenever it comes to going higher, all of our targets remain the same, virtually, except maybe now they've changed a little bit. Let's see, high to low, because this is now the low. What was a slightly lower low, we weren't going to count, but this low here, if it's the low of the overall move, we got to count it. And depending on if this is the low or not, we could go lower. These targets might change. But now, instead of a 8.2 cents low or high minimum, we have an 8.6 cent price. Instead of 26 to 32 cents, now we're getting 30 to 38 cents, something like that, 17 cents. Yes, the targets do go up the lower that your retracement is overall. That's just kind of how it happens. That's the nature of the beast there. If we look at this from a high to a low, I'm just curious as well. Where are we? Right here at the 1272. Okay, look at that. There are a couple of reasons to expect to find support here. That's nice. That is actually really nice right there. We'll see. We'll see. I think it really depends on Bitcoin and the rest of the market. But if we do move up from here, and when we do move up from here, the immediate next target area would be 7.2 cents to 10 cents, psychological resistance there. And then after that should be something on the lines of 21 to 27 cents. After that, we can talk about higher prices, but as of right now, really we might have to rethink how or where we're going to go. 17 cents. Let's just focus on Let's focus on 8.6 to 17 cents for now. 17 cents is a good area, right? We've made actually a lot of sense out of this 11 to 17 cent zone. But there's a lot of sense to be made out of that 26 to 32 cent zone, which is now 30 to 38 cents as well. We even had, for quite some time, we actually even had some sense to be made out of prices at like 37 to 40 cents. We've even had calculations that make sense for that, but the fibs never lined up with that. Now that we've actually seen a lower low, the fibs are starting to line up with those levels. So maybe we do see these levels still by the end of the year, as crazy as that might sound. But I'm thinking more so now at this point, we're going to expect a 8.6 to 17 cent price by the end of the year. That's just more appropriate. In times like this, guys, whenever things are very bearish, whenever we're at the lows, whenever we're seeing things that we weren't expecting, things kind of have to change. That's just how it is. And just being blunt, being objective here, I think for now, let's just keep it at 8.6 to 17.4 cents as the next target area. That is our 1272 to 1618. That is the primary target zone. We can talk about higher prices when we do get to 17.4 cents or higher. I do still believe, hold on. I do still believe we'll see OnyxCoin above $1 by the end of this cycle. But before we even start talking about that, we need to show life. We need to get above this high. We need to get above the golden ratio, and we need to see new all-time highs, right? In that order. First, get above 5 cents. Second, get above 17 cents. Third, get above 18.5 cents, where our technical all-time highs are, not based on the Coinbase chart, but based on the all-time history chart, right? Right here. 18.5 cents. If and when we get above 18.5 cents, then we can start talking about prices back above $1. But to be completely fair, our target zone would be about $1.33 to $2.30. $3.67 is not on the menu. No way. Something here, either that or maybe even a little bit lower than $1.33, but something in that zone. That's what I would expect by the end of the cycle. I don't have anything else that I want to say. We're looking for a proper reaction here. Fingers crossed, everybody. Hit the like button, subscribe, and buy the dip at your own peril, because this thing could keep going down. Again, it really could keep going down. But I am feeling like we are in the midst of a environment that is about to cause a massive reversal across the board for crypto as a whole. So just be patient, hodl, buy the dip if you'd like to. If not, there's nothing wrong with holding on to some dry powder and waiting to see if we do get lower prices. But remember what kind of environment we're in right now, right? There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear, and whenever others get fearful, you should get greedy. When others get greedy, you should get fearful. This is definitely the time to get greedy and scoop some coins up, whether it's OnyxCoin or any coin that's on sale right now. I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I haven't sold any OnyxCoins. It's still my biggest bag. None of that's happened, right? We're going to be moving up here pretty soon. I got nothing else. Take care. Bye-bye.